Any changes or corrections? Got a motion to approve? You've made it. Second. And all in favor?
Okay.
Chairman's remarks. The only thing I have is I had a couple of questions on the returns, but Jessica answered them sufficiently for me. If anybody have any questions that they had, they can bring them up now or later on, but I guess.
I had one, aren't use variances supposed to come to the board?
Excuse me?
Use variances.
That was a typo.
Right.
You get my
She corrected that. She corrected, yeah, she won later. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, so it was.
Yeah, changed. It was not a use, yeah.
Okay,
There were area variances.
got it, okay, it's fine.
But it's also something that maybe we can talk about at the end of the year. I'd really like to take a good revisit at our GML policy number 2, I think, our planning board policy, what comes and what,
Okay.
just to make sure everybody's.
Your recommendations on it comes up every year, so you
Mhm.
if you want to make some changes, let us know.
Or the board to think about, if there's things that you're seeing consistently that you feel like are not necessarily of countywide, countywide impact.
Actually, there's one I saw in the return, I'm not sure I was sent to us. It's out there in far into the city, I don't know, was it 500 feet of anything? For me, it was.
There was one, I can't remember exactly what one, but there was one that got sent to us and we were like,
I said, why are we looking?
but they sent it to us, so it was just a.
Yeah, all right. Okay, that's all I have. Do you have anything other than what you said?
I just wanted to, say thank you. There were a few people here that, when we had on Monday, we had our, countywide, meeting for the countywide strategic development plan. We had the summit. The consultant came and I was really disappointed. With the presentations, they were like late getting there. They didn't have enough handouts, for the attendees. The presentations weren't really visible from the audience. I think I've just maybe worked in consulting long enough where I think that, like, you should visit a venue first before doing a presentation and see if it doesn't, like, it'll work or and I thought that a couple of the presenters were kind of hard, I thought, to get through, but I thought there was a pretty good turnout.
I had to work early voting, so I couldn't go. Yeah, I was there all day long,
I had no songs.
with 12 people.
Wow, there's 12. Right.
That is what.
Okay, so that's it?
So that's it. So long story short, all of those presentations are available on the website though, at the elevateportland.com website. And so anybody can do the PowerPoints. I think the really important parts to focus on are in each of the 4 focus areas that are going to be addressed in the plan. They propose strategies to address those focus areas. And we want to get engagement as early as possible to make sure that those strategies are going in the right direction, because then the objectives get outlined out of those strategies. And what the goal is right now, what our hopes are, is to get looking at a grant opportunity to hopefully purchase some project management tracking software. So then we'll be able to use the objectives outlined in the project and put that in the software and actually create projects out of the objectives, assign, individual department heads or agencies as the individuals to spearhead some of those objectives. Because I can't stand plans, just to have plans to sit somewhere. And so I think,
That's 90%.
I know, but too many of them, honestly.
It's gonna be in the 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try to be that 10%. Plus we want to make sure that the document, I think a lot of agencies are tuning into it, which is really good because ultimately they need to be able to use that plan as a foundation when they apply for grant funding to show that what they're applying for is in alignment with what the county is looking for. So we're on our way. So tune in and check it out. But then again, Yes.
Fair enough, okay.
Tricia, you said, the grant rating, that's not part of the Elevate Cortland website, is it?
Which,
Elevate Cortland website was the symposium that was held, right, where you could watch video. Where do I find the information about the grant writing? Also from Cortland, Elevate Cortland website?
I don't think there's any grant, no, it's just, it's when projects are gonna be highlighted in the plan,
Oh,
then if there's agencies that are applying for a grant, if they say, like, as stated in the Portland County Strategic Development Plan, there's a need for senior housing, say, then that'll give them a really good foundation and give them better scoring criteria in their app. It's a tool for other people when they're writing
I
grants.
think,
Yeah.
got it.
let's get to our report, or the one GMO we have to do.
So
Please don't read the whole thing. You
I-
promise not to.
I promise I will not do that. So, the town of Kyler proposed a local law for wind energy facilities. They enacted a moratorium, for those that might remember, in June of 2023. And it was just set to be for 270 days. So they now have the law together, which is great, and that's what they're proposing here. And 6 articles with 32 sections. I'm not gonna go through each of these sections. The most important one is to see it's a lot like solar where it's broke up. They have the small wind energy conservation system. And they have that differentiated, between a larger system. But, I think that some of the recommendations that come out are, some are just more grammatical, such as that we've recommended that the word ordinance be replaced by local law as it's used throughout the document. Definition also provides proposed section 6, provides definitions for terms throughout the document. And at the end of the definition of DEC, there's a reference to some unknown document. So we just recommended that, that the town clarify what that reference is to. There are some differences, used with terminology used for the, wind energy conservation system. So we recommend that the terminology referring to a small wind energy system be standardized throughout the document. I think also, there's some, there's in proposed section 10, which is the application for the wind energy permit. It establishes requirements for the systems, including the location, the number, the rated capacity, and the location of all structures with nearby residences. And proposed section 10, double I indicates that a buffer around the tower is to be 500 feet of any proposed wind energy system, and the location of all proposed facilities, including access roads, any access roads, electrical lines, and storage or maintenance and fencing. However, proposed section 10EH indicates that the location of all residences and structures within 3,280 feet of a proposed system are to be delineated. So it's just recommended that the town consider making the two reference distances consistent. The applicant would be required to submit a landscaping plan, a lighting plan, a decommissioning plan, and a site restoration plan. It's very similar for those that have seen these before to a solar law. And we did recommend that the decommissioning plan must include assurance that funds will be available for decommissioning and restoration. They did include that. Some other important highlights is that 10, proposed section 10, and other locations throughout the document refer to the planning board, but the town of Kyler currently does not have a planning board. So it's recommended that that reference and subsequent references to the planning board throughout the document be edited to read planning board or acting planning board, because the town board can act in these situations, so.
Why would they write something when they don't have it?
And why would he continue?
They had an attorney write it.
That
Yep,
him-
comes out, one that said that and every other one he had, he.
Gotta think someplace else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you be more specific by saying town board though, or?
They just missed it, okay, whatever they were modifying.
No, but our recommendation is still referring to the planning board. Wouldn't we be saying, or governing body, or, you know?
Or government, yeah.
Well, let's finish your recommendations,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it, okay, for reading of it, then we'll go through it.
Section 11 goes over the application review process. And it outlines the steps that they have to take and the actions of the town in response to the application. And related to that, code section 16 has wind energy permits, indicates the process of approval. And applications for the wind energy conservation system would also be considered a type 1 action under seeker. So it would require the applicant to complete a full environmental assessment form, which is just kind of good to know. So then, unlike small, they have a separate set of standards for regular wind energy conservation systems. This refers more to the transmission lines that are required to be located underground. Lighting for towers and compliance with FAA regulations and such. They also note that if a wind energy conservation system is causing electromagnetic interference, that the operator shall take necessary corrective action to eliminate the interference, including relocation or removal of facilities. But construction of the system is only limited to Monday and Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'm sure if somebody's not working on it, all neighbors sleeping. There's required safety measures that refer to ladders and such the towers themselves. There's traffic routes indicated for the construction and where the access road can be located. There's setbacks and noise standards established. They have established setback distances with boundaries from public roads as well. Wetlands and property lines of schools, hospitals, community centers, and churches. Proposed section 15 setbacks and noise standards for the systems. They do have 2 identical sections that are just included in the law. Looks like they just didn't delete one. So we do recommend that Article 2, Section 15E be deleted because it's the same as 7. As an exception to the noise requirements, the town, Section 15 is E, the town shall allow a 5 decibel increase in the noise ordinance levels at the property line of a non-participating landowner where the ambient noise levels already exceed, all is an ALL, ready exceed the proposed noise level thresholds. It's recommended that the word A be omitted before non-participating landowners, and that already be changed to already. It's already done. Just perfect. And I mean, ideally, we try to communicate with the attorneys before the report to get some of these things changed, but we had much of an opportunity and we thought that they were important to include, so. So then, proposed section 17 goes over abatement. And that includes a decommissioning fund. And then, section 19, covers permit, relocations. And, it is important to see that so the owner has to fund periodic noise testing by a qualified independent third party. And to demonstrate that they meet the requirements of the law itself. And the owner would then, if there is any deficiency indicated, the owner would have 15 days to cure it. And it may be extended by the town to a maximum period of 90 days. And then there's also a separate item that's a wind measurement tower that's covered under this regulation as well. And they're permitted as outlined in the individual section. But the regulation indicates that the minimum required setback for a wind measurement tower to any residence is 1.5 times the height of the tower. And that permits may be issued for a period of up to 2 years. So that's just a slightly different indication. And then small wind systems were outlined to regulate standards for designed for more on-site home and farm use wind towers. But a permit would still be required for these as well. And they have to be on lots of at least 2 acres and are limited to 40 feet in height. But they do require a permit from the town board, and they did say town board to them. So, so section 23 for the small wind systems has permits required in 5 through 19 are actually identical to another set of listed items in section F9 through 19. So we recommend that those sections get omitted. Again, it's just redundancy of the same things. Also, they refer in that section 23, they refer to the seeker process, SEEKER. So we just made the clarification, they changed that to seeker, SEQR. The,
They're seeking the,
yeah.
seeking the seeker.
And then, their law also has a, supersession indicating that the law shall supersede the New York State town laws listed, in the report. And as the town of Kyler does not have zoning, which those laws refer to, specific zoning regulations. So Kyler does not have zoning. So those laws don't seem to pertain really. So it's recommended that the town consider consulting, but we're not attorneys. We don't know if they want to have it in there to be safe. So we just recommended that the town consider consulting legal counsel to determine whether or not they should take that reference out of there. And then, you know, this is a type 1 action under seeker, so the town is therefore required to complete a full environmental assessment report. So those are the recommendations that are listed by seeker.
I have a motion, some recommendations. Who did it?
Yeah, 4 of us, take your pick.
Pick somebody else, wait, who seconded? Don, let's go. Okay, so we'll make that out. Any comments? Dan, you had something or not?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking, why should we reiterate planning board in our recommendations when it could be the town board or the governing body of the town, whoever would be responsible for doing that? Instead of naming planning board again for our recommendations.
Sure, we had kind of debated back and forth, should it be town board, but then we're like, the governing board. And I think we did acting planning board, because there might have been also conversation about how they wanted to form a planning board to review these. So
If we said the governing body, then that would include, if they do have a planning board, that would include that.
Planning board's not a governing body. Planning board is
Yeah.
separate.
Well,
That's what, we just did acting planning board, I don't know, because they refer to planning board. I don't, I
yeah,
don't know. But we could do governing body if there's, I don't know.
I kind of limit who's allowed to review them though.
Yeah,
Which, and they might eventually have zoning and have a planning board that would have to change this law. So, probably not, but you never know.
I kind of worked through, my, what, law. And one of the main things that I always found was from other ones that we reviewed was the lack of road assessment. Making sure what condition the roads are on prior to them doing it, and then a bond or something to maintain that they will put it back to the original condition. And I think that's always important.
Was that in there, the road thing? There was a thing on roads in there, but I don't know what it.
Yeah, I didn't read there.
We didn't read the last
Our
one, but-
recommendation, so.
so there is a section under section 14 traffic routes
Yeah,
that, it says that minimize the related traffic during times of school bus activity, minimize wear and tear on local roads, and minimize impacts on local business or operation.
yeah, it doesn't really stress the point that they are responsible for repairing the damages that they've caused, and how long is a blade?
Like Hartford, what they
You're
were,
building
Yeah.
the roads actually.
It does
To
say-
get around corners and stuff, I mean, our little small towns.
It does say that a road shall remain in existing condition status throughout construction, and the applicant shall ensure that such roads shall be usable by the general public during construction. The applicant shall fix any damage to the roadways as required by the town within 48 hours.
Yeah, I did see that, so that might be enough.
I mean, if you feel strongly about it, we could make a recommendation that the town consider having,
We had a new law actually,
yeah,
of a road law.
the Hartford,
Yeah,
when Hartford did their, oh, what was the name of that law? It was like a,
yeah, their roads got destroyed up there.
yeah, road preservation.
Solar was.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a road preservation law?
Something, yeah.
and it was written specifically for
Yeah, for, yeah.
For solar.
For independent.
wind
Yeah.
and solar.
Yeah.
Solar guy, but still, you know,
We could, if you'd like, we could add a recommendation that the town consider, consider
Performance bond.
a,
they have.
or a road preservation law.
What's the other question I did have, which has come to the money thing? Do they have anything about maintenance on the road? You're saying it doesn't have anything about maintenance that they have to pay for. It just says they have to maintain them.
Right.
It says that they have to, it says that they have to fix any damage within 48 hours.
But who determines whether, what the damage, it's up to highways, is the state, who makes that determination?
Because
Is it
there's-
superintendent or someone, because sometimes it gets confusing as to who says it's bad, who says it's
Yeah,
good.
and how bad is it?
And how much money they have to put aside to do that.
It does
And
say
that's-
in here that, determined by the town.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's by the town, okay.
And the cash deposit
Yeah.
made prior to issue.
Yeah,
Who
Well,
determines that
yeah.
dollar figure? but
Well, the other
the
question-
company do
yeah.
that or then, or
Right.
the,
Well, the cash deposit I thought was for the removal at the end, wasn't it?
No.
for the repair.
Repair, okay, they didn't deposit, okay, all right.
and then one other thing, transfer of ownership. A lot of times these guys come in and construct these farms and then sell it immediately. They're selling.
I was gonna bring that up, Danny, as it's not particular to this, but Apollo is starting to buy up these farms, they're equity bankers. And I mean, once one equity banker gets involved, then they all jump in and think they're onto something, quick, we have to do it.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, they all start buying, the technology shifts slightly, and they leave them just vacant, they walk away.
In some of the laws that I've seen compared to, it says that before ownership can be completely changed, it has to be approved by the town, a background check on this company that's gonna be taking it
Or
over.
does the county consider putting in a performance bond associated with the decommissioning plan?
We talked about
Yeah, well, they
that.
have a
before.
cash thing, so that I
You know,
think the decommissioning, but I don't.
I mean, the
After bond,
decommissioning
yeah.
plan's one thing, but in a performance bond, it's, they're cheap. They can buy it, they're
Right, you
insurance
get like
policies.
1% or 2% on it.
Until the deal.
And somebody has to come up with a cost of what it's,
Right.
gonna cost to do it, then that's all paid to the
They
bond
did.
company.
They did have decommissioning in here, right?
Decommissioning's one thing,
So,
but
I didn't know
That's
to
a
know anything
plan.
about the
Who
transfer
paid
of
for
ownership.
Yeah.
I wondered if that, I mean, cause they all sell out. There's a
Oh, yeah, sure.
construction
But
building.
most of the solar farms, 5 years have sold 3 times.
You're right, right. I mean, so I think for the town benefit, because what they do is they should be reported every year on how much energy is being produced and know their rights as far as pilot agreements or anything if that's involved and that based on production, if you don't even know who's running it anymore.
We don't know who benefits from it.
Yeah.
We know.
I've never seen one that any of us has benefited from. All right, just go.
It looks like there is a section, applications for approval of transfer of ownership
Yeah.
or control pursuant to section G shall be submitted to the town board together with information explaining the proposed change of control or the transfer. Such information shall include the names and addresses of the parties whose interested in being changed or transferred. With the percentage of ownership being transferred and the names and addresses of shareholders, members, partners. Together with a fee established by the town board and such consultant fees that the town board finds necessary to review any financial information submitted therewith.
Oh, there you
They
go.
got it covered pretty.
Yeah, that's good.
okay.
Yeah, those, since we didn't have that to look at, I didn't really know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sounds like they got it in there. We didn't want to read the whole thing anyhow. We should have said.
I was just gonna admit, I didn't read it.
In proposal 12, I find this to be in the common measures to be taken such as structures being finished in a single non-reflective matte finish color or camouflage scheme to
Yeah.
reduce visual impact.
300 foot tall, you're not gonna notice it, are you, Mr. Campbell?
Yeah, so,
You don't see it.
No?
You won't see it, no, camouflage.
Okay. When you-
Actually, this limit was 300 feet, which is, I think they're making it bigger now too, so, yeah. And the other question I did have, these are all type one actions? You said with these, anyone thinks of type one action?
I think,
Really?
yeah,
Well, I didn't know that, okay. Well,
I'll verify that.
that's fine, yeah, no, they probably, true, I just didn't know.
But
it.
we're proposing to put a big wind farm in Kyler. Or
Well,
what?
yeah, well, everything you find.
But he's approaching.
It doesn't make, it don't
I
look
just say, obviously, you just don't pick the stuff out of thin air.
Right.
wherever the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think there's-
actually, I think
Okay.
that corridor there, Solon, Truxton, Kyler is like the high points and that is a prime location for solar or for wind energy.
Yeah.
Anyone else, comments or questions, any changes you want to see? If not, all in favor of staff's recommendation? Any opposed? Motion carried. Any other business we have to discuss?
I think that's the stay tuned for,
We don't hear nothing.
does anyone want to see the return letters in the, or some? Or-
Well, one thing, I
Are
think
you
you're
like
going to
selling?
always know what the application was, someone going to post it before you did. Well, I would think it's more important and more, what is the thing about?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I asked the question
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
The one at Homer, because
The arbor
what was this thing? It comes up every 2 years, they do something different.
They get-
What are they proposing now?
What-
It's the same one over again. It's
Yeah.
satisfied.
Wasn't it a plan
It probably was already.
development?
Yeah. That was-
Yeah.
I didn't know it was already.
It was reviewed here, and then the whole project was reviewed by the board, but then they put it back through the town, but nobody had filed the subdivision. So the subdivision itself had expired, the approval, the municipal approval. So they basically, nothing had changed from the original proposal, but they just needed, and they felt like they wanted to be a little conservative and go through the county first and then bring it back to the town. Even though nothing changed, they just took it out their stuff.
Did that go from original subdivision then into a planned unit development?
I think it was on the original plan of the more like apartments, I think.
Yeah.
Then I went ahead and-
And it's gonna be a homeowners.
Homeowners association, it was gonna be private.
Every units.
And they screwed up
On its own,
with the
but
road because they didn't think, with the road not right in the middle of a 9-hole
that
pole.
was nice, yeah.
And nobody figured out what it would cost to make 9-hole move that pole. And that's why it really died. Because they were too bright when they designed it.
It's one of the renovations.
It cost like $100,000 to move the pole or something.
Wow.
Find the road out, drive around,
Yeah.
Anyhow,
little planter.
yeah, well, it's still there in the middle of the road.
It is.
Look at it. You get around it though. Okay, then do we have a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? And you'll keep it posted on the next meeting?
Yes.